This is We the Sales Engineers podcast, show 278.
Welcome to We the SEs podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba.
What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another episode. So, my guest, he's been on the show in the past. You can watch his episodes. You can click on them in the show notes. This is show 278. So, wetheSalesEngineers.com/show 278. You'll be able to find his previous episodes. He goes by the name of Trevor Spires. He has his own YouTube channel, and he's a good SE. He's a very good SE. But we all bomb sometimes, and for some reason, our conversation, which was supposed to be about working at startups, went towards bad days. How we could have a bad day, like how a bad day affects us, how a bad demo affects us, what we can learn from it, and all that. So I just wanted to share this. Like it seemed raw. Like he was very real. He talked about like some of the things that he ran into. So let's just jump into the show with Trevor. There is no outro. I sign off with Trevor because it was a great show, at least as far as I'm concerned. So I will see you next time. Let's jump into the show. Put your happy face on, Trevor Spires. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Ramsey. Nice to see you again. Also, just digging the Batman shirt today, dude. Digging the Batman. I am like a superhero.
I am digging the JSON shirt. Is that JSON?
It is. What it I don't know what it is actually. It's from a company called New Relic. I got it at a conference last week, but I don't know. I actually don't know what it is. It might be maybe no. I think it looks more like not JSON. What's that other thing?
HTML.
XML is what it looks like to me, but I don't know.
Okay, that's how geeky sales engineers.
Yeah.
All right, so Trevor, you've been on the show a few times, and maybe we can start off by you telling us briefly, because if people want to know more, they should check out the other two episodes, who you are, what you do.
Thank you very much, Ramsey, and hello, anybody listening to this. My name is Trevor Spires. I am currently a solutions architect at a company called Common Room, but I'd say like what I think about my career and what I do and who I am, I'm like a career sales engineering professional. I've been doing it for like 5 years now. Funnily enough, came into the profession by way of like Ramsey's podcast years and years ago. He's been at this for a while now. And it just turns, yeah, of course, I was, aside, I'm interviewing for my first SE role, and like I'm prepping during the day, and at night I'm like listening to Ramsey's podcast, like try to figure out what is the language, like what SE managers care about.
Nice.
But I just like am fanatical about, like, I love doing pre-sales. It's fun for me. Like it's the first job that I've had where I feel like this is something I could do for like a decade or more. It feels like a really good fit for my personality. And so I just spend a lot of my time trying to, like, if I have technical skills, so like I have some technical background in like cloud and networking and infrastructure, spend my time like trying to educate people on that if I think it's useful. And I talk a little bit about sales engineering and like what it's like, maybe I make little jokes about it on LinkedIn. So if folks want to learn more, they can find me on like LinkedIn and YouTube. I publish content there, but I'm just an excitable SE, man.
That's pretty good. So you worked at AWS for a while. I don't know if you've seen, I am creating AWS videos now, except I know nothing about AWS.
How's that going?
Well, did you watch any of them?
I saw the thumbnail.
Okay, that's perfect. Don't watch any of them because they might be all wrong. So the whole point, I'm putting myself out there, man. Like sales engineering is hard as it is, and then you have to learn new technologies. I don't work in cloud. I have a background in networking, nothing to do with cloud. Not even data centers.
Hey, yeah.
I didn't do data centers. You just turned on one of my videos.
I did. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I heard myself talking as I'm talking. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So, yeah, you shouldn't watch them. Everybody else should, or anybody who doesn't know AWS should, because I might be right. It is tough. So, why do you love sales engineering?
It's a good question, man. I just dig, like, it is, I don't know if this sounds cliche, but like I like solving problems with people. Like at the end of the day, like I think I could work on any technology and be happy. I could like work at any type of company and be happy. But like what I really enjoy is like being on calls with customers, showing them things that can help them, and then helping them implement those things in their environment. It's just the day to day. It's like, yeah, I have to work. I'm not independently wealthy, so I have to work. And so I think of work as like, you got to find a game that you enjoy playing for 8 hours a day. And the SE game, the game of presenting and evaluating and running proof of concept with customer, like that's a fun enough game for me that I don't mind doing it for 8 or maybe 10 hours a day every now and then.
Proof of concepts where deals go to die. How are your proof of concepts going? How do you manage that and make sure it doesn't go to die?
Oh man, it's a good question. I'm there's like it's kind of my opinions on this has evolved a little bit actually, but
Okay.
it's a combo of like a structure of kind of a traditional structure of success criteria, and like basically before I decide to invest the time with a customer, I will have some document or slide where I'm like, hey, here are the things I would like to prove in you in the evaluation. And before we do the evaluation, if I can prove all this to you, will you buy it, or will you at least try to buy it? So like that's part, but that's like a very traditional thing. Like there's actually another part that I focus on maybe more, because that part's easy. Documenting something and getting people to say like, yeah, I'll buy if that's easy. What's harder is like maintaining momentum in an account. And this is a much more human thing.
Okay.
Yeah. What you have a question on that?
No, I just want to know more about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, like, okay, so think about it. You're an SE or a salesperson. You've gotten a first call, maybe a second call.
Yeah.
The customer has agreed they want to evaluate your product. Customers don't agree to do that unless they're excited about your product, right? Unless they think that there's something useful in the product. I see you shaking your head. Maybe you're right. There's probably some exceptions, but by and large, when customers agree on a call that they want to evaluate your product, that means that you did something right and like there's some alignment there usually. However, like the excitement that you get from like a banging demo is different than the excitement that you get like in an evaluation, like proving something out.
Right.
And so when I say maintain momentum, it's a lot of like trying to make the experience of the eval feel like that same light bulb moment that you got to in the demo that you did, trying to like continue to remind the customer about that light bulb moment as like a constant drum beat throughout the eval. It's kind of like you have to just keep value selling throughout the eval, because it otherwise you get into the tactical stuff, and within a couple of eval meetings or working sessions, the customer's like, what are we doing here?
Yep.
Like, why did we do this anyway? And so it's a lot of, when I say keep the momentum, it's that. It's almost like making sure that the customer still understands why we're doing all this in the first place.
So something that just popped in my head, like the way I do things right now, it's very similar to what you do, where we're going to have as part of the proof of concept plan, we're going to have these are the things that we're going to do. These are the tests, whatever. These are no go criteria, right? These are the milestones we're trying to achieve, and it's all very technical. We never talk about like, if we achieve this is the outcome for you. Like it should be in the document. Like we're doing this to highlight this.
Yeah.
And then when we do this, like, did it highlight? Did it get to what you want? Right? Like, because sometimes we say like, there's like a restaurant in Quebec City that I went to once. They had those amazing ribs. Right? And in my mind, it's like, I want to go back and eat there. But if I go back and eat there, will I have the same feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's the same thing. Like, we're going to do this and it's going to be this value for you.
Yeah.
And then we do this. Was it this value, or was it something different? Was it better? Was it worse? But yeah, I'm talking too much in this interview, but hey, I'm going to.
No, you're not. It's helpful, actually. I'd say like I talked to, but somebody you should talk to, by the way, SE at Outreach now. He's at a company called Mutiny before. He's at Salesforce. His name's JT Sweeney, and he helped me with this as I was struggling with this new in the role.
You struggle?
Yeah, I do. I struggle. It's a nonstop struggle. I feel like that's all I do is struggle.
Good.
And he helped me with this because I was like trying to get a sense of like how to run effective evals, and he summarized it really, really well. Where he was like, can we do what we say we'll do? are we aligned with like, okay, so that's number one. Can we do what we say we'll do? And then number 2 and 3 is like one or the other. Are we aligned with your strategic priorities? Like, are we aligned with something that's important to your business, at least at a strategic level?
Yep.
Or the best case scenario is we can actually develop an ROI, but like the truth is you can't deliver an ROI in every single eval. You can only do that in some evals. So it's like that. I found it very useful to like separate those.
Yep.
Where like
that.
If I'm looking for, so if I need to generate budget that doesn't already exist, I need an ROI to be a part of the eval. But if I'm trying to attach to existing budget, I need strategic alignment to be part of the eval. And that was a very helpful way to break that down in my mind.
I would think like you would need perceived ROI.
Perceived ROI is yeah. It's usually like an ROI projection.
Yeah, really like not so just to make sure understand, like we're not providing an ROI in the proof of value, right? They're not getting money back in that time frame, but we're proving to them that in the long run you will get ROI back.
Yeah, the framing is like by the end of this 1 month eval, you should feel confident that you'll receive an ROI over the next 12 months. And then we can do some like projections of that and make some nice fun charts about how that's going to happen over time.
Yeah. For me, I've never been able to do ROI in my industry, right? Like it's I'm in test and measurement, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I'm doing is helping them like confirm that their stuff works properly. Yeah. And so it doesn't work for everybody.
Totally. It's a great point. Like I'm selling a tool to sales and marketing professionals.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's a little easier to generate an ROI when that's. But if you're selling to engineers, it's like an ROI is like kind of like they're not even thinking about that. Like they're thinking of like I need this to do my job.
You sold to engineers.
I did.
In the past. Did you face the same thing? Like, is that the experience you had?
No, in past roles when I was selling to engineers, I never talked about ROI. The only time I talked about ROI was when I worked at AWS, because there was a lot of conversations of like, what's the ROI of the cloud versus on-prem? But even then, the engineers don't care. It's their bosses that care.
What's the people who sign the paycheck, right? Not the paycheck, exactly. The PO.
Correct.
Purchase order.
Well, in the case of AWS, the people that put the credit card into their account. But yeah.
That's right. That would be me. I got charged 19 cents for something. I need to go back in there and like I thought I disabled everything. I looked at the billing. AWS is tricky. Anyways,
probably an elastic IP. That's my guess. You have an IPv4 address sitting there unused. That's my guess.
Potentially, I don't think I did that. But I'll go in. I'll look at the billing. Well, maybe we'll sit together afterwards. Yeah. You'll help me.
Show me the bill. We'll figure it out.
That's right. So, like, you love sales engineering. Sales engineering is fun. It's not always fun though. Like, have you had situations where you just hated it? Like at the end of the day, it's like, screw it. I don't want to be an SE anymore.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, to be fair, I've had that with everything I've ever done. You know, I don't usually quit things, but like, yeah, like at some point, like I can think of most things I've done, whether it was like being in the Air Force or like working as a consultant or like I hiked the Appalachian Trail. And throughout those parts of my life, there was at least one point where I was like, this sucks. I'm going to quit. So yeah, I mean, I have that. And then for me, I'll say like as an SE, like I think part of what attracts me to the job and the reason I find it so fun, like a lot of SEs, is like I kind of enjoy what I would call like the performative aspect of the role of like I get to show you something and like maybe like educate you and entertain you and like get positive feedback. And my lowest lows are always from the immediately after, in the days after the calls where I bomb. Yeah, like I think it was like a stand-up comedian, right? A stand-up comedian can go kill on stage and get crazy laughs, but if anybody's watching this podcast and they've seen bad stand-up, it's so hard to watch a stand-up comedian bomb. And so like bombing a demo to me feels like a similar energy of like it's just not landing. And I personally, my personality type is like the type that I beat myself up a little bit when a demo doesn't go well. Even if I did my best, it's hard for me to move past it.
So I'm just searching something. You talked about like being upset for days on end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like that too. but I've been trying to implement something that I've read about in sports, which is short-term memory. Right? You see, like the best basketball players, they shoot and they don't stop shooting. They miss the last
Yeah.
shot. They don't remember it within a second.
Yeah, they're not thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason, when we bomb, which happens more often than I'd like to admit, uh, we remember that for days. Like it hurts. How are you dealing with one? Give us an example of a time you bombed, if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. It happened quite literally yesterday. And so it's very fresh. It was a call where I went into the call. I'm like, I don't really want to talk about whose fault it is that I bombed, because like I could point fingers at people for not helping me, like not setting me up for success. But at the end of the day, I was the one delivering the demo. So some of that is on me. This is a situation where I come into a customer call. I don't really know much about what's going on. I know like the personas that are be there. And what I did, my mistake was, instead of coming in and trying to do what is kind of like a canned demo, like a kind of boilerplate demo that frankly an AE should be able to do, but like instead of doing that, I tried to get fancy with it. And I like tried to in real time build a demo based on like the first 10 minutes of discovery in the call. And I did that, and I thought I was doing the right thing, but I ended up showing a feature that didn't, or focusing on features that really didn't resonate with the audience. Even though I thought it was aligned with what we found in discovery, it wasn't aligned with the audience. It didn't resonate. And the call was a little awkward, and the customer wasn't that into it, and call was over, and we were like, what the hell happened there? Like, it was a customer that we should have done well with. And so, yeah, that's an example of like, I just showed the wrong feature. Like I showed a something that the customer wasn't that excited about seeing.
Okay. Do you mind if I dig into this a little bit?
Dig, dude, dig away.
What made you, what gave you the idea that they would be interested in the features you showed them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, in my mind, like as an SE, I feel like it's my responsibility to really know what my product is good at, right? Like I should know the things that we do best and the things that we do worst. And like, so I have this habit of, and what I heard a customer say is like, we are, our biggest priority right now is generating pipeline, right? Like that's our number one priority. And it's our number one struggle right now is generating that new pipeline. And so I was like, cool, I have a feature that will show you how to do that. And I just got focused on that feature of like generating new pipeline. And again, it's like I think what I showed just didn't resonate. I don't even remember what question you asked now. Actually, I lost my train of thought a little bit.
I was asking what made you think that, what made you think that you're interested in those features?
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, to reiterate, it's like I heard they wanted to generate pipeline discovery, and I know that like our product does some things. Like I would give our product like a C or a B at some things, but at generating pipeline, I would give it an A+. Right. And so I was like, cool, this is going to be a home run. I'm going to show them exactly what we do. And so instead of doing like a harbor tour and like a first call overview, I jumped right into the use case of like, here's how you generate more pipeline with Common Room, the tool that I represent.
Okay.
And it didn't work. It was a bad judgment on my part.
Why was it wrong though? Why was it bad judgment? Because I would have done the same thing based on what you just explained.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would have done the same thing. I did my best. Like that was my best in that moment. But I think what, in hindsight, of course, I think that what the customer needed was like a harbor tour demo, like a very standard, like, here's what we do. Here, a kind of sales and go to market 101 type demo is what they needed. And it's because we had a range of personas on the call, right? So we had a SDR manager, we had a VP of sales, and then we had a customer success leader.
Okay.
And I was really laser focused on the SDR leader's use case, but really who I needed to impress was the VP of sales. Oh. So I focused on the wrong pain in the call.
You didn't figure out the most important person in the room.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't know.
So was the SDR manager happy at least?
No. but SDR managers are never happy because anytime you show them something, all they see is like, that looks like more work for me. Like it's really hard to like have somebody also see like, yeah, but you'll get better return on your labor for that work than you're getting with the current work.
Okay, so I guess harbor tour would have been better, which is funny because we always teach don't do the harbor tour.
Yeah.
Oh man, this sucks. So basically, what I'm hearing from you right now is by doing everything the way we teach everybody, you bombed.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is so interesting because we talk about everything in theory, and then like everybody has a plan until they can get punched in the face, right? Yeah, so you show up and you do everything that you're supposed to do as an SE, and turns out, could have just sent a video.
Yeah. Or I mean, even like, and this is a very specific example of like, I try like I was operating in a risky situation where I didn't really know what I was going to show at the beginning of the call, and I was trying to figure it out in real time. Not ideal, but like there are still situations where you will even have the opportunity to know what you're walking into and prepare your demo and make it perfect. And sometimes that actually still bombs too. Not as often, I would say. It's less frequent. You can reduce the risk, but there is no guarantees.
Well, did
no
I tell you?
you
Did I tell you about the story where we went to a big customer here in Ottawa, and my manager, my account manager, basically said, Ramsey, they need to show virtualization of our product. I'm like, cool. And then he said they want to see exactly how they do it on VMware. I'm like, okay. Why VMware? Is like, I don't know. They want to see that. I'm like, okay, we don't generally show how we virtualize. We just have the thing running. It's like, but they want to see that. And then we show up to the meeting, to the demo, and I start off by saying, so my account manager said that you guys want to see exactly how we do it over VMware. And they look at me, it's like, no, we all use KVM here.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And then my response was, well, it doesn't really matter what the underlying virtualization software is. Here's how it works in the end.
Yeah.
So, I jumped towards the end. So but basically there's always room to bomb. Like it's not, you can do everything right and still be wrong, right? Or at least think that you're right in the moment. Because like if we think about it, if you watch any sports, any game, there's two teams there, and they're both prepared. They both want to do the right things, and one of them is going to lose unless it's like soccer, right? One of them, or hockey, is going to lose. So you can do everything right and still lose.
Yeah.
And you have bad days, you have good days, and
yeah. And I will say one thing, and this is like, I think what makes people good at their work, regardless of what they do, or one big thing that makes people really great at what they do is I probably need to be like a basketball player, be like a goldfish, like Ted Lasso says, and just forget about it and move on. But in this process of like thinking through what I could have done better, like there's both things that I will learn from that. And maybe next time in a similar situation, I won't make the same mistake. And also like, I think I will talk to because there were 5 people on that call. It wasn't just me, right?
From your side.
From my team.
Yeah.
And I would say like, if you're on a call and you're on a call with 5 other people and they see you bombing, like they should say something. They should step in and maybe like try to redirect. And so that will be my feedback to them is like, hey, like I'm always trying my damnedest. Like I'm going to try my best every single time. And sometimes I'm going to go up to bat and take a swing and I'm going to miss. And when you see that happening, don't be afraid to say, hey, Trevor, actually, you know what might be cool? Like show them this thing over here, or don't be afraid to like,
which is
just interrupt.
We teach the opposite of that, right? We teach don't interrupt, don't say, hey, show this or that. But here's one thing I tell my account managers: if you see people getting bored, stop me and say like, hey, we want to check in with you. Are we showing you the right thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And if they say no, then I can adapt. It's like, all right, what is the right thing? Versus that, like, I don't want people to start guessing what we're supposed to show. And you did it virtually, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was virtual.
Cameras on or off?
On.
So, and like my advice to the account managers or whoever were on the call is us as SEs, or you as an SE, I don't know, don't. Okay, never mind. You as an SE, sometimes you're in it, right? And you're like there are little pictures on the side, and the entire screen is your demo. You're showing them something. You can't see what they're looking at. So if and that's remember I mentioned like my account manager like typing up emails in the middle of the call, in the middle of my demo earlier. I talked about how my account manager was doing that. Instead of doing that, it would have been nice if he was just looking around, making sure that everybody's engaged, helping me out, taking notes, right? Because if they ask a question, so
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some people listening. Like, there's also like different areas of this too, because like I would agree with you, and generally, like I would not want my account manager to interrupt me but that usually applies to like a very technical sale where my account manager doesn't know actually what's going on. Where like there are some situations where actually like in the product they're working on, it's not a super technical sale.
Yeah.
Therefore, like I trust my account manager's instincts of what to demo just as much as I trust my own.
Okay. Well, like, yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess it's different for each.
I would say I'm in a little bit of a unique zeitgeist. I work. It's a glitch in the matrix because I get to sell to salespeople.
Right.
Therefore, my sales reps should know what we need to show salespeople because they're salespeople.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique. Most people don't sell tools like that.
I would definitely want the salesperson to interrupt and maybe do another discovery. Like if we're not showing the right thing, just ask, what do you want to see? Like, I don't know if this is hitting the mark for you guys. What do you want to see? Like, what is, or something, I don't know. It's so easy, but like, it's so easy to talk about it after the fact, right? Because they're probably sitting there and thinking like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this one? What's happening? And we never practice when things go bad. What are we going to do? Right. That should be practiced. It's interesting. So I guess you had a bad couple of days.
I didn't sleep well last night. I was thinking about it a little bit. That's a personal problem though. It's just me. I've always been that way.
Yeah, I don't think of it as a bad thing. I mean, we talk about short-term memory, but that's inside the game. We're taking like 3-point shots and missing.
Yeah.
But almost every competitor would go after and watch tape and obsess over what went wrong.
Oh, dude. Usually I have no problem watching my demos, like a recording of them. This one's recorded. I'm so scared to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I don't think I ever will. Like I already know what's there and I don't want to see it.
And don't watch it. It'll just confirm what you know. I mean, I think you might be surprised that you did some things right, obviously. But we don't remember that. We only remember what went wrong. All right, tell me another horror story.
What's another bad thing? What's another bad thing?
Yeah, we want to scare people from getting into sales engineering.
No, you should still get into it. It's just nice to know. I think it's humanizing of it. Like I think a lot of people think about the career and like think of it as like a really like it's super rewarding in a lot of ways. But
I can share
like any job,
I can share something.
Throw it at me.
The thing about sales engineering and sales in general is that you're not generally in control of your product. The engineering team might decide to do something here that could be beneficial to 90% of the customers, but not to your biggest customer, for example. And now they just messed up your whole life with that specific customer. I'm running into that right now, where engineering did something and I have like a bunch of customers, some are okay with it. But one of my biggest, like, because I have repeat customers, my biggest is just so unhappy with us. Like he was yelling at us. He was fed up, giving up on us. And like I've told him like throughout the last year, like, don't give up on us, we'll get it done. Don't give up on us, we'll get it done. We haven't gotten it done yet. Right. And it's your word. And so it's like the thing about sales engineering is very dependent on other people to do their jobs properly.
Can I double click into that one with you?
Double click
because one thing that I ran into that too, and one thing I always struggle with is like, because like what you just described was you personally taking ownership of things that are not in your control you gave the customer your word as Ramsey. We will figure this out for you.
Yeah.
However, like that was based off of the assumption that these teams behind you
They gave
will
me
deliver
their word. They gave me
right.
their word.
And
I
so and of course, if you're in sales, something you got to learn, product managers, they always break their words. They product managers, listen, they do their best and it's by the way, really hard job. However, like you will be given deadlines of feature releases that will be missed, right? And so what I want to double click on is like, when do you, in your opinion, I know my answer, but in your opinion, when do you give your word to a customer, say like, I will stick with us, we're going to get this done for you in the next 3 months? And when will you say like, listen, I'm sorry that we're not doing this, I'm all over my product team to try to get this done for you, I'm going to do my best, but it's with the product team?
When? I don't know if there's a right answer for that.
I don't know
I
either.
tend to go with the second one most of the time. Anyways, like I'm doing my best, I'm getting them involved. But when I get guarantees from other teams,
Yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, that I'm the same way. It's like I will give my word if I trust the other team
yeah,
to deliver what they say they're going to. But if I don't trust the team, then my answer is always going to be like, I'm going to do my best. But
well,
it's
here's the thing. So that team delivered a solution, just not a solution that the customer likes. Right. So it's a little bit different, right? From like, we're not delivering at all. We just delivered something that the customer rejected. And if you, from the customer's perspective too, like if they keep rejecting the solutions, what am I supposed to do at that point? So I gave my word. We provided a solution. It wasn't up to their standard, and now I'm in limbo, right? So it's, I don't know. I try to provide when I'm confident that it will happen. I give my word. I always give my word when it's something that I'm doing. Like, hey, I'll like, for example, a customer wanted to buy something from us. He didn't ask a lot of questions. He just bought. And it turns out there was something specific about this solution that he didn't like. And in his mind that we were supposed to know about that. But I'm new to the account. I didn't know much. My SE didn't say anything. Yes, I do have an SE. So I gave him my word that I will fix it for him. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, but I will fix it for him. And I was able to fix it within a year. Right? Commercially, right? It wasn't a new feature, it wasn't anything like that. I just one product was DOA. I'm like, cool. I'm happy you got a DOA. Let me switch it for you.
mm-hmm.
I'll send in a different product. Another one, I traded it in for him. Right? I figured out a way. I gave him very good pricing. He was happy. We're all happy. So anything I can control, I can give my word. Anything that's out of my control, I need commitment from other people.
Yeah.
And now still, the way I would word it is like, I got commitment from the PM. By the way, speaking of PM, I was talking to an engineer friend of mine, and I asked him, hey, why don't you go into PLM? He basically told me PLM has zero power. All the power is with R&D. The PLM has a wish list, or PM, but they can't tell us what to do. We tell them what we're going to do, which I found interesting.
I like that though. It's like, it seems complicated to do that, but it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the end, engineers know what they have time to do, what they don't have time to do, the amount of work it requires.
Yeah, right.
And they always overestimate how long something will take, or maybe underestimate. I don't know.
Depends
what you ask. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I like this episode specifically because everybody talks about sales engineering as if it's problem free, as if everything has a solution. Some things just don't have a solution. Some things you just have to live with. The product isn't always perfect, right? Sometimes you have to sell a crappy product, which does not feel good. But as long as it solves the problem and you're able to sleep at night because it solves that problem and you don't oversell it, You don't say it's going to solve world hunger when it barely does one thing very well. So there are struggles. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. Do you disagree?
No, there are like it's a job of high highs and low lows.
Yes.
And it to me the highs are worth the lows, but not to everybody. I've met people who did sales engineering for a couple of years and then went right back into like delivery or something else or consulting, because it wasn't their thing. So yeah, I think it's a good question for like aspiring SEs to ask themselves, like, are they down for like the bad parts too? Because it's not all crushing demos
Or even
and
existing SEs. Is it worth it? Is the heartache worth it? I mean, we're very well paid. So for me, like, who's I have 3 kids. I'm very financially driven.
yes, same.
So you have 3 kids?
No, not the second part. No kids, but I do like money. It's I'm an American. What do you want? I mean, you're Canadian. Even Canadians like money. Everybody likes money, right?
Well, I think money solves a lot of problems. And so,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. If you're in sales and you don't like money, and you're in the wrong sport.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Okay, well, we're coming to the end of our time, Trevor. It feels less like an interview and more like a chat. So
yeah, I feel like I got to get a couple things off my chest. I appreciate you listening, Ramsey.
It is my pleasure. And hopefully other people listen to this and at least know what's coming to them or what's not coming to them if they choose to go into this role or not. Any final thoughts, any concerns, anything you want to share before we sign off?
Yes, I want to share that if you are listening to this and you've heard my description of how I'm like beating myself up over this and then blah 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 blah, like just so you know, like I'm associating that with the bad part of this job, but like that's actually just me, like I know plenty of people that are very healthy and balanced, and when they do a poor job in a call, they shrug it off and they go drink a beer and then they never think about it again. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And if you're one of those folks, reach out to me. Let's talk, because I want to figure out what you're doing to be able to let go. Maybe I need to meditate or something. But that's all, man. That's all. I'll close it on that note. And as always, thanks for having me on, dude. It's always a pleasure chatting.
It's my pleasure, man. Hey, do you actually play the saxophone, or is that a sax? No, that's not a sax.
It's a sax. I play the saxophone. I play the bass. Those are my two main instruments.
I'm putting you on the spot. Do you want to like take us off air with a little tune?
Dude, I can't. A saxophone, you have to like lick the reed. I have to do a whole thing. It'll take 5 minutes.
Shows you how much I know.
Yeah.
We'll come back for the sax part. Stay tuned, everybody, for part 4.
Next time. Next time I'm bringing the sax.
Well, I guess I don't need to do an outro, so I'll just thank you, Trevor, for being here, and I'll sign off.